It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. I appreciate you hitting me up. Appreciate a chance to get on the show.
Yeah, I'm happy that like you're down to be on. Um,
Yeah.
I've seen like some of the LinkedIn stuff that you post. That'd be cool. And I know your memory blue, so um, yeah, I appreciate you like want to be on.
Yeah, man. No, it's good stuff so far. I love to find maybe we could talk about it during the episode and whatnot, but I'd love to figure out how things have been since you've left.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
because
So we can
um,
talk about it on air or off air if it's like something you don't want to talk about on air. But
no, I'm really good to go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, content wise, I always figure having the more the better. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I agree.
How do you pronounce your name, by the way, though?
Terran, like Aaron with a T at the beginning.
All right, easy enough. That was my first guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And you're cool if I call you Big Country.
yeah, yeah. That's sort of the standard.
Where did the nickname come from?
So it's so I'm from Richmond. My mom is from South Carolina. Um, when I moved to DC, I think it like I just sounded more country than everyone else. And I'm large, and maybe 6'4" on a good day. Switch and swap between 215 to like 250 on a bad month, and so um, one of my coworkers just called me Big Country over and over again until I just decided to adopt it and make a thing out of it.
That's cool. I like it. It's like
Yeah,
it's your own thing.
yeah,
Did you play
yeah. No,
sports growing up?
I did. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I did a sport or two. I didn't stick in any sport for a particularly long time, but I did a bowling club for a little bit. I did flag football a couple of times. I did a baseball league or two. I did martial arts. That was my thing. I got a black belt when I was like 13.
No,
Um,
dope. Karate,
as a
taekwondo.
kid, Muay Thai and then a little jujitsu too.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Did you compete?
No, no. This was like pre MMA being cool. You know what I mean? Like it was basically just an extracurricular that wasn't football. Um, it was still kind of violent that I was also interested in. So yeah, I didn't compete there. I did wrestling one season, but it was annoying because um, I was in the highest weight class, the unlimited weight class, so we could only do exhibition matches, and I won both of my matches, but none of them counted. So
So, is there not like state championship for like unlimited weight class?
not that I was aware of. I mean, this was in eighth grade, so I was maybe 14 or so. Um, yeah, it was just I think if you were over 180 pounds or something, maybe it was 160. I don't know, but because you could wrestle anybody that was 14 pounds or more or less than you, and then that just wasn't a valid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The I'm curious about the Muay Thai thing. I did Muay Thai, but just like casually, not to the level of like a black belt. But when I was younger, like maybe at like starting at 14 actually, probably like when you got your black belt. Like there was a gym by my high school, so used to go there, practice, hit the bag. It was fun, like spar. I guess a fun sport. It's a good workout.
It's a good workout. I mean, really, the best thing that I learned from it is just throwing kicks puts you at such an advantage in a street fight because, like, you hit somebody with a foot jab, we're stumbling out of a bar, they're not going to see it coming, and then you
Yeah,
just
dude.
instantly put them in a plum and feed them knees. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, if I get kicked in the leg in a street fight, I'm like, all right, man, I'm good.
Exactly.
Like, you're messing with someone dangerous if he starts throwing leg kicks in a street fight.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, dude, I don't know if we're recording or not yet, but I feel like things are starting to heat up. I feel like there's about to be some juicy convo going. So I don't know if you want to kick it off or.
Yeah, I actually just started. I'll cut to whichever way, but as soon as you jumped in, I start recording. Just
Oh,
to,
okay.
so
We're good to go then. Yeah, I
yeah,
was like, man, I feel like I'm getting into the rhythm already.
yeah.
So, yeah, well, that's cool, man. Um, yeah. So where were we? Yeah, Muay Thai, but yeah, that was the fun. Jiu-Jitsu for me was like, uh, I mean, it's clearly good. It's good stuff, and without Jiu-Jitsu, I could have like been in some hairy life situations if I didn't know just a couple basic moves, but um, it's just not as fun to practice. You know what I mean? Like when you suck, you really suck.
Yeah.
Um,
And I hear people get really good. Like if you have no experience, you're screwed in jujitsu. I think with any
oh yeah,
martial art, you're screwed. Like if you have no experience, but like with striking, like you can learn to punch. From what I understand, I haven't done any jujitsu, but like if I go into jujitsu gym with zero experience, there's not a, like someone with like a 2-3 months experience will just manhandle you.
yeah. And I mean, if you took somebody half your size and then no experience or what have you, maybe you did like 3 months of Taekwondo or something, like you probably fuck them up. That's just because they're gonna be that like you'll have a size advantage, a power advantage, what have you. But yeah, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, that's the whole point. It's like you can be small, you can be slow, and still destroy.
How long were you in jujitsu?
Uh, well, it was always like for the program that I was training in, it was always like we would do a couple of sessions um, mixed in with Muay Thai. Sometimes it would be sort of a split. We'd do Muay Thai and then go over to Jiu-Jitsu, but probably the last year or so that I was doing it, and I think I did it for 5 years total, it
Damn.
was just mostly Jiu-Jitsu, yeah. Um, so yeah, that's about the gist. And I've been thinking lately it might not be a bad thing to start back up again. I've even thought about just doing competitive fighting and what have you, like in my little fairy tale brain. But I also got LASIK eye surgery, and I'm really afraid to get a lens knocked out.
Yeah. That's the thing. I feel like fighting would be fun to compete in, but there's so much at risk. Like, especially, would you do MMA?
I think that would have to be the thing. I could maybe do kickboxing just because then I wouldn't really have to learn that much new. It'd just be practicing the fundamentals. Um, but yeah, it would probably be that just because I feel like if you're doing anything less, you're sort of, it's just not as cool. Like if you're going to do boxing, that's one thing. Like I think boxers are cool. I think MMA folks are cool. I think just professional jiu-jitsu folks are cool. But like folks just doing like some one-off martial art, like I would want it to be something that you could make a lot of money in
Yeah.
if you got really good at it.
Did you? You don't have to share this if you don't want to, but like, has it come into handy? Like the fighting skills, like
Oh yeah, like the only real fights that I've lost have been just getting jumped. um, so that, I mean, that's never been fun. But like I brought up earlier, I mean, every real like street fight that I've been in, I always just led with a foot jab, and then it was basically game over at that point. Because it's the same thing every time. You lead with a foot jab, they absorb it, they bend over, and then if you know kickboxing, you're just putting them in clinch, you're putting them in plumb, and then it's knees. So it's like it's over at that point. If you now, thankfully, and I also only choose or have chosen. I'm not really like a violent dude, but I've only chosen fights that I was like pretty confident that I could win. You know what I mean? I'm not out here like trying to get in fights or anything, but been in a predicament or two.
yeah, you're gonna, sometimes you got to defend yourself.
Exactly.
So.
Sometimes you got to defend a buddy, or like prove a point, preserve your honor, type of deal.
I'm surprised people fight you. Like you said, you're a big guy. Is it usually people that match up in stature, or are smaller people bold enough?
It's normally the smaller people being bold. Anybody my size, I'm not gonna fight. Like unless they just look real dumb and real slow. or something. I'm just gonna be like, all right, man. Well, clearly we don't see eye to eye. Agree to
Yeah,
disagree. You
part
know what
ways
I'm
as
saying?
friends, you know.
Right. We'll part ways as friends. Exactly.
uh,
Yeah.
I used that line in a cold call once. Actually, in an email, I booked a guy and I booked him for a month out, and he didn't. When it came to like the day before, he was like, "Hey, we have to reschedule." And I was like, "Okay, it's been booked out for a month, but if it's that pressing, we can schedule it out." And he gives me a date for another month out, and I'm like, "Okay, we'll do it another month out. I'll make sure to follow up with you then." I book it for that day, and then he emails me back, and he was like, "Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna reschedule. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. We should just take it off." I said, "Listen, man, I've prepped all this stuff. We've been at it, like for a month. Let's just sync up for 15 minutes, and we could part ways as friends." And he emails me back, and he says, "You'll never get my business threatening your friendship with me. Delete me
Damn.
from your list." And no one from your company ever contacts me again. I was like, it's a saying, man. I didn't, like
Right.
we're
Yeah.
not friends first, but no disrespect to him, but like it was just a saying. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. You're not coming in there like, if you reschedule this again, I won't be your friend anymore. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that's the threatening one. But just coming in there, I mean, there's tons of stuff like that we say that's meant to be polite. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So,
yeah.
whatever. Another one for another day.
How did you get to Memory Blue?
Let's see. So, if I was so the only way I would have known about Memory Blue is had I had been in DC. When I had finished my time in the military and then I finished school, I wanted to be in a band because I got a music degree, and so I happened. My girlfriend lived in DC at the time. We had both, graduated from JMU, and then she moved over there. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna find a band over there. Started a band, moved there. Um, Band didn't work out. Go figure. Um, it just did. Like I was living in DC with like rent that was twice as expensive as I'd ever had. So I was just switching back and forth between job to job. 25, 24, 25 years old. Like, what the hell am I doing with myself? And I got a personal training certification, and I was just not making dick. Like I was making $11 an hour when I wasn't
Like
training.
gym training, like physical training?
Yeah, yeah, personal training, and yes, it was just garbage. And I was poor, and I didn't have any type of status or respect for myself. And then a dude from Memory Blue hit me up, a recruiter. It was like, yo, you get into tech sales doing this. And I was like, man, I don't know nothing about a computer. And then he was like, you don't need to do that. You just got to be, you just got to think on your feet and be hungry. And I was like, that sounds nice. And then I came into the interview and I was like, this is definitely a pyramid scheme. It's just because I didn't know anything. And when,
When was
when
this? Like year wise?
this was 2020.
Okay.
Or like January 2020. And then like I thought it was a pyramid scheme even when I signed the offer, but literally the
You're just
offer.
like, I'm gonna risk it.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, I had nothing to lose, and the base pay was more than twice as much as I was already making. So I was like, this might be my one shot at like being a corporate, you know, like putting on a monkey suit, going to work, and like doing that kind of thing would be. So I just gave it a crack and did really good. So yeah, I'm glad I did. I hope that answers the question in
Yeah, yeah,
not
it
so many
does.
words.
I'm curious. Well, if you don't mind, I want to jump to Memory Blue and your, like career at Memory Blue, like what you've done and like advice and stuff like that. But if you don't mind, I'm curious about like your road to getting there, like starting like high school. When you were in high school, did you know what you wanted to do, or what was your plan, like when you were in high school and getting to graduation and like afterwards?
Quick question before can I curse on this show? Is it
Yeah.
mainly clean?
No, you
Okay.
can say whatever.
Fuck yeah. All right. So I was in. That's 5 pounds I just lost. Um, so all right. So high school, I hated school. I I hated going to school, but I loved school because I had a lot of friends. But I was just partying a lot, um, getting drunk and doing other stuff, and so that was a grand old time. And I even did sort of decent in high school. I think for like a well, no, I probably had like a 2 GPA or something. But
Were your parents big on school?
no, no, not at all. I didn't even really know what college was until I was in the military. Like, yeah, I heard people going to college and doing college, and it just never lined up. Like, my parents never talked about college.
Was your dad
Um,
military?
yeah, yeah, he was in the Navy.
Okay, so my dad was Army.
Okay, yeah. So I think some military family don't they don't recommend it, and then other ones recommend the hell out of it. Um, but yeah, college was just never a in the cards. Like, I knew my parents didn't have money for it. I knew I didn't have money for it. I'd never taken a loan before, so I was never gonna be like, oh yeah, let me do that. Um, and then so basically, what was going on is when I was in high school, uh, I wanted to graduate early, so most of my friends were taking all of the cool classes, like your shops and your like where you cook stuff and whatnot. And I was like, no, I'm gonna just double up on a history, double up on a science, so that way I can get all the things I need for an advanced diploma, because an advanced diploma is going to be a good one. You know what I mean? That's going to be my college, is getting an advanced diploma. Um, so I just doubled up on all that. I graduated a year early to do that. Um, so as the time horizon was coming up, I mean, I was getting in a lot of trouble with the law and whatnot. Like, I was catching charges and being in court a whole bunch. And what happened to me basically is what happened to my older brother. My parents were like, all right, so you can either go to high school for another year, or you can like go to community college and like pay for it yourself, or you can join the military. And I was like, I don't even know why y'all are, but they're like, you can't stay here. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, there's really only one option here that makes sense. I was like, I'm not like, I don't have any money. I'm not just gonna take out money to go do something that there's no end of it in sight. But if I join the military, I was like, I know I'm gonna get some money right up at front, and then maybe I'll go be cool or be a hero. Um, so that was the deal. That I don't even remember what you asked, but I guess it
Yeah,
was about
no,
high
it's just high
school.
school. That answers the question. That's perfect. What branch?
Okay. Marines.
Oh wow. Well, thank you for your
Yeah.
service.
Yeah, for sure.
How was that? How long were you in?
Uh, 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking about it, we can skip past it too. But it's your preference. But
I
curious.
mean, the highlights. They give you the highlight reels. I mean, it just sucked. Like, it was really shitty. It
That's a low
fucking
light.
sucked. It was just everything, man. Like, from day one, I think after like year one, the suck finally started getting to me, and I was like, "Fuck, I gotta do this 3 more years." Um, and it's just like everything you do is under a microscope. You don't have any freedoms anymore. If you fuck anything up, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. I mean, if you do so much as like get a speeding ticket or something, you might have to be on duty, which is just like walking around the company barracks at night for months. You know what I'm saying? So like that's going on. Um, it's a sausage fest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lived at Camp Lejeune. I was in the infantry, so it was just like, all by myself. I think I had a girlfriend for most of the time that I was in there. You're just away from everybody. Um, your friends at home who like to smoke weed. You know, you're the oddball out when you go to Christmas and whatnot. Uh, you know, being abroad and whatnot, it sucks too. I mean, yeah, there's cool stuff. Like, you see some cool stuff, get some nice experiences, but you know, and I didn't get blown up or anything. I didn't watch any of my friends die, but there's always like some type of oh shit moment about to happen. Like there was a time, I'll tell this story because this is nuts. It's probably like the most scared out of my mind I'd ever been. Um, we were on a boat because I was on a boat for 8 months. It was called a mule, and we were headed towards Seychelles, um, which is this little paradise island right off the coast of Madagascar. And we're headed there, and we're going to have what's called a libo port, which means, hey, you get to get off the boat and fuck off for a couple of days. You got to come back to the boat at night, but you can go like get drunk or just relax or be on a beach for a little bit if you want. So we're heading on our way there. The whole boat's maybe 300 people on the boat. Everybody's excited. Everybody's talking about like, God, I can't wait. We haven't been on land in however long. This is gonna be sick. Seychelles sounds beautiful and whatnot. So we're on our way there. This is in 2013, by the way. So this was like as the whole Syrian war thing was going on, that civil war, whatnot. Um, and then like as we're maybe a day away from Seychelles, we hear over the loudspeaker, all hands on deck as the ship comes about, or something like that. And basically what that means is everybody's got to get on the flight deck, which is just like where the helicopter lands on the boat. So we all rush to go up there. Then the CEO comes out. It basically says, hey guys, change your plans. We're going to Syria. And the thing that was in all of our minds at that point was none of us have had any type of biological warfare training on how to deal with the neurotoxins that they were putting out there. Literally, all we had was a gas mask, which, if you get sarin gas in your skin, it means you're automatically going to shit your intestines out. So, so like we felt the ship turn around, literally go the opposite direction, get caught on the flight deck. That's going on. And there was a lawyer that was on ship who came around and was like, hey, we're just like making sure everybody's wills are filled out right. You know what I
Damn.
mean? And doing like the life insurance policies and getting all of that squared away. So literally we were
Damn,
just,
dude.
yeah. So I don't think it would have been such a big deal because there was other times where I was on post in like Oman or something where I actually had to like stand post and watch out for people coming onto our base and whatnot. Um, that on its nose might just like you might think is like more of an intense situation, like when you have a loaded gun ready to go. But um, when that happened, just the real oh shit moment was like we all have in our heads like we're landing on the beach in our rickety AAVs, getting onto the beach, and then just gonna get gassed because we didn't have any like we don't know about no air support. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know about like any F-16s or anything around us, so we're just thinking like we're gonna land on the beach, get gas, shit our intestines out, it'd be shit out of luck, get sent home in a box at best. Um, so that's what's going through the head. Fortunately, after like 16, 20, I can't remember how many hours it was, we're all just like sitting in the berthing area, just like all of us were just sitting in a circle, just like none of us said anything for hours, but we were all just thinking like, damn. At some point, they literally said fucking all like whatever as the ship comes about, boat turns around, and then they come back downstairs. They're like, "Yo, never mind, those plans got called."
Bro, you guys were sitting there in silence, like pondering like everything, just
Yeah,
to wow. What did do they give you a why in that situation where they not when they turn it around when they first tell you hey like we're going there, um, just get ready for it. Do they tell you why like what's going on like because I'm just curious like it's like why are you guys like what's the mission?
no, no, they don't tell you any of that. It's all like in the military. I think there's this saying that's like, you only those who know get to know. Because otherwise, another phrase, lips sink ships.
Yeah.
Um, you know, super limited internet access. You might be lucky to get on the internet like once or twice a week for like a half hour period, um, off like a specified computer. So they don't want you spreading around any intel, relaying it to somebody back home and getting around and then fucking up the whole operation. So, but yeah, like
That makes
to
sense.
answer your question, yeah, just you never know the why. You only know like the bare bones of what's going on.
When you were sitting down there, is there any revelations that came to mind, or anything that you like? That's obviously like a pretty intense situation to think you're like going into. Is there anything that you thought that you hadn't thought about before that?
Hmm. Thinking back on, I think the main thought that I was having at that time was just fuck. um, yeah, it was just kind of like
Cool, that's a valid
you,
thought to have. That's a valid thought to
yeah.
have in that
So
circumstance.
yeah, so fuck, and also just I guess this is how it ends. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried looking back on my life as it had been so far, and then just tried to appreciate it, and like you try to rationalize because I was maybe 19 or 20 at the time. I was just trying to look back and like conglomerate all of my favorite memories and like try to remember them and then just try to be like, yeah, that's fine, that's enough. You know what I mean? Um, and try to get all that together just so you can go into it while not being afraid. Um, that's sort of what was going on through my brain
Yeah.
at the time. But but yeah, deep shit. I don't tell that one too often, um, but yeah, interesting stuff to relive. I don't think I don't talk about the military thing that much anymore, but I'm glad that I did it at the end of the day. I mean, it got a good story. I mean, I got several good stories, but um, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm thankful for it.
That's dope, and I appreciate you being open about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's plenty of people who had it worse than me. Um, I'm just saying, like, I didn't, I wouldn't, I can't say I would do it again if I had the option, but then again, I don't know what things would have been like otherwise.
Yeah, and you're here now. That's the main thing,
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm overall pretty content. Never satisfied, but content.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, memory blue. We'll jump
MB.
to the big MB.
Yeah.
You thought it was a um, pyramid scheme at first, and shout out memory blue. I like memory blue a lot, and I'll have some good things to say about memory blue here. But um, thought it was a pyramid scheme at first. When you started there, you said you were successful, like pretty soon, right away. Like, how was that like? How was it cold calling? Sounds like you didn't have much like cold calling or sales stuff before.
No, I did. I not a lot, but I had done like working as a personal trainer. Part of the reason I wanted to get into personal training in the first place is because I knew it would involve selling myself, and I wanted to do it as maybe a way to build a business. You know what I'm saying? Building a fitness brand, getting my own clients, doing that kind of thing. So I was already sort of into the sales game. And when I was in college, this is prior to that, I did Cutco for a couple of months, um, slinging them knives. And I know they got Cutco where you're at.
I
Vector
don't.
marketing. I'd be surprised if they don't.
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with it. They might though.
Okay. Well, yeah. So vector marketing or Cutco, it's basically it's a, I don't want to call it a pyramid scheme because it's not, and I do respect the program, but it's like a pre-memory blue. Like they'll recruit people in high school, uh, and or just somebody in college doing this or doing that, and then you're doing B2B, you're doing B2C referral network sales. Uh, that'll be over the phone or in person, and you'll basically ask your parents like, hey, who do you know? And then you'll hit up your parents, your family's friends, be like, hey, I'm doing a presentation for school, want to check it out? And then you show up to their house, and then you cut a penny with some nice scissors, because that's how sharp the scissors are. You fucking cut some tomatoes and some pineapples in front of them, And then you're like, see, this is great if you're, just look at your shitty knives, and then you pull out their knives and dump them on the counter. And you're like, look at these wooden handles you've been putting in the dishwasher. That's trash. And then then you're like, if this knife ever fucks up or goes dull, you just replace it. They'll replace it for you lifetime. So it's an awesome product. I feel like I could probably sell the hell out of it today because I
Yeah,
love
you
to
got
cook
me.
it.
So I saw someone
Yeah,
cut a penny in front of me.
dude. I, yeah, dude. I saw my brother do it when I was a kid, and I was like, this is the coolest fucking job I've ever heard of. So yeah,
It's
selling
real
that.
sales experience too, like that, door to door like that.
It was, yeah, and I closed a couple of deals pretty fast, like out of my starting class, and it was a rush. You know what I'm saying? Still got some type of a base pay, so like my pump had been primed. I think it was probably just getting a little bit too busy for me, so like I decided to just keep Ubering for whatever because I could better control the pace of that. Um, you know, in college for money during college, but yeah, so like you had the cold call as a part of that. It would be like sort of warm, like you'd be like, "Hey, so and so is calling me," but so you wouldn't get like hung up on a whole bunch, but you'd be leaving voicemails. Um, but yeah, like we'd have blitzes and like they'd turn on AC/DC, and then like a whole room of people would be blitzing and whatnot. Um, so yeah, like I'd already gotten some exposure to that prior to Memory Blue that I think helped.
Who's your client when you got into Memory Blue?
So I started out with a company called FrontStream, which was call it enterprise fundraising software. So uh, target ICP is nonprofits. At the time during the kickoff, they were saying, anyone who's doing 5 million or more in donations, but it was really best suited to companies that did lots of in-person fundraisers that are activity based, like marathons, ladder climbs, that type of shit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Did you enjoy it?
yeah, it was. Because I think everybody's, and they're in their boot camp thing. They're like, what client are we gonna get? What's your client? What's my client? And I'm over here thinking I'm gonna get some like ultra complicated fucking cybersecurity, endpoint, outpoint, you know, something like that. And it's just like, no, it's fundraising software for nonprofits. I was like, I did not see that coming. But
But thank you.
yeah, it turned out all right. It just started off. There was one other guy who I was sort of competing with, who was on my team, and I just made it my goal to just do better than him. Um, and yeah, so it was fun. I mean, I hit quota, I think every month except for my very first month. I think I was one short of ramping quota, but it was a blast. And I mean, I got maybe all but one of my occurred meetings through email
Oh
with that
wow.
first one. I'm telling you, and I don't know what the situation is, but the theory that I had in my brain was that in that industry, that just tends to do better. The nonprofit industry is like a very, it's like a real female thing, and I feel like it's like sometimes when you're like a dude and you're like this sales guy, sometimes it can be harder to get somebody warmed up to you over the phone. Um, and also, I mean, it just worked.
Yeah.
So
I think there's different, like, with different industries, different things work. I knew this guy at in the Seattle office. His SDR. He the company he worked for did like environmental permitting, and he got
mhm,
a hat trick off of email drip, just all automated emails, and got three
yeah,
books. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy. I was one of the guys stuck with, and not stuck with because I enjoy it, and I'm in cyber right now. Like, I got cyber. I don't think I've ever booked cold email. Everything's been call.
yeah, no, yeah, and I've done a handful of different cyber campaigns. Same thing. I mean, it would be cool if you could get the book off of email, but it's like you send an email, you basically like boiling down a cyber product in writing is more hard, I think, than just being able to say something. Like I would figure out a way to pitch my other cyber products in a way that was like 10 seconds, you know what I'm saying, over the phone, which 10 seconds is a long time when you're just,
Yeah, when it's a
like
cold call.
Yeah, but that was like how I'd book meetings doing cyber. So yeah, I feel you on that one.
How many clients did you have as an SDR?
So I had Front Stream, that was one, and then I moved to Vitus Vet. That was another one. That was veterinary software. That was a fun one. And then
Were you
another
calling
thing,
vets on that?
yeah, vet
Okay, that's
clinics.
cool. I feel like that'd be like interesting, like different type of conversation than the usual like IT person.
Yeah, totally different. It was super like that one was no email. Like you could not get a meeting off of email. You had to be on the phone. I had a situation going on where um, I got so fast with it that, and the phone is always answered by a receptionist. You know what I'm saying? So it's like gatekeeper city. Um, I got to a point where I could hear in the tone of how the person answered the phone, whether A, they were a receptionist, B, an office manager, three, a doctor, or four, like another doctor that wasn't in the business operation. So I would just hang up on people depending on how they answer the phone and just dial the next one.
That's
Because
wild.
yeah, because they would be like, oh, I'll leave so and so a message, and then so for the first couple of dates, I was like leaving messages everywhere, only come to find out like nobody's fucking calling me back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you literally just had to get a doctor or office manager on the phone.
Wow.
Anyway, so that Dividus Vet, and another one called Covera Health. That was like calling population health or like radiology managers at hospitals and then some private practices. That one wasn't a sell so much as like getting people to sign up for a partnership. But I crushed that shit. Like they had to stop the campaign because I booked every meeting that they wanted
Oh, nice.
for
So
the
they
year.
PPM.
No, it wasn't PPM. It was just like, hey, we have these target accounts.
Oh,
We
and you
want
got
meetings
every
with
account.
every account in like at 1/3 of the time that they were expecting to have it done.
That's
Um,
hard. That's a flex.
it was, and I'm not going to say it was like the hardest thing, but the way that the folks who were like my AE sort of doing it, they were just being so stupid about how they were trying to set up meetings and whatnot. It basically their email copy, they would send people like a brick of email, and it would read like, Mr. and Mrs. So and so, good evening. It has come to our attention that because Covera Health has helped the lives of blankety blank patients, and I said, I'm going to cut out all that shit, and I would email people, hey, not sure who this is for, but figure you might be involved. Um, like, here's a packet to read, but basically, this is going to make it so that any Walmart person who that needs an MRI, they're going to get reimbursed, and that money's going to go to you from the payer. And that shit got circulated. People were hitting me back up, like, and I would phone book it too, because I'm literally like, you're stupid if you don't sign up for this. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I think the team there just wasn't realizing, like, oh, we can make it simple.
Dude, I think
And
that's
yeah,
honestly like I think that's one of the most missed things in sales, especially I don't even know if it's just people that's new, but everyone wants to overcomplicate everything and I think like I'm like explain it simply. Like I don't care who you're talking to, like the highest person, the lowest person, like understand what you're selling simply. Like what if you can say like exactly how you explained it to me, like that's so simple. Like don't matter what I know, I get it. And I think like
yeah,
if you can communicate that, they will understand it. And I think like um, a lot of times when I saw SDR struggle, especially with learning what the product was, is I ask them like, well, what do they do? And they'd be like, oh, it's this secure gateway access this thing. Well, I'm like, dude, but what do they do? Like, just talk to me, you know? And because I think if
right.
you can do that, it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it
That's
makes
my
it
opinion.
easier on yourself too. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to have to explain like, all leveraging powerful APIs in our extended AE 256 military grade encryption, we're able to completely remediate your attack surface by fucking like, uh, you know, leverage, OSINT, freaking FedRAMP. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
that's like, what did you say? Like,
right.
even the technical people want it simple. Like I always even when I call now, I'm like, I go in the simplest form. We're this, like, and then ask them some open-ended question. And good to go.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's eight. Right now, you got two or three dashboards. This is going to give you one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Uh, how long were you in SDR for?
14, 15 months, I want to
Okay.
say. Yeah.
And where'd you go after SDR?
So after SDR, then I went to direct hire, which little known fact, people don't know about it, but it is Memory Blue started, like, if you ever heard of Rising Stars before,
Yeah.
uh, like they do that, but for those who are familiar with a third party staffing agency, it's just that. It's just baked into Memory Blue, but it's basically its own business. So it's for like recruiters and whatnot, you have clients, and then they say, "Hey, I need an AE, or I need a sales manager, I need a VP, I need an SDR." We go and find the folks, and then just put them over there, and then we keep some change if they hire the people. Um, that's been the gist. Starting off on that, I was just recruiting. Then I got promoted to an AE. That's when you're doing both sides of the house. So you'll hunt for new clients, you'll manage the clients, and find the candidates. And then just recently, I've just moved into a thing where I'm just going out and finding new business.
Okay, so you're just closing now, and then people are finding recruiting for you.
Exactly. Yeah, like bringing the candidates and whatnot.
Why'd you go direct hire side? There's a lot of growth paths at Memory Blue, and shout out Memory Blue. There's a lot of growth paths like externally, like getting hired out, but then also internally. Why'd you pick direct hire?
Well, situation I was in, I mean, I was on PPM for some change, and that was going fine. I mean, I was making some decent SDR money up in PPM, and uh, but it just I started getting senioritis of being an SDR. I was like, dude, I can book meetings with my eyes closed. It's not really rocket science. I feel like I can do more. I just wanted to use more of my brain. And I think I took a couple of interviews here and there. I think I interviewed with like Paycom or something, but never anything like first round. And then Bones, if you know him, Joe Trapasso, he hit me up with the direct hire thing. Um, and I loved Memory Blue the whole time I was there. I mean, first of all, I was making more money than I'd ever made doing something that I didn't think was that hard, um, and something I was good at. You know, got recognized a lot for. The culture was fun. Got to do all this type of stuff. I had friends in a city that I never thought I'd have friends in. So I was like, yeah, I mean, if there's a decent reason to stay, I'm going to stay. Um, so broke down the comp plan and whatnot, and there wasn't really a reason to say no. It was just I got to let my PPM manager know that I'm swapping. Uh, so yeah, that's the gist of it. I mean, I had considered going to another company, just getting hired out as like a SDR, promoting the AE and what have you. But I'm and maybe I could have, but somebody would have needed to recruited me to do it. You know what I mean? Because I responded to recruiters, but I didn't really feel like looking that hard to leave.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah.
Are you doing the AE side now of direct hire?
Yeah. Yeah. So like literally my day nowadays is like, blitzing, sending some emails, doing some list building, uh, doing like sales calls. So like we don't run demos because we don't have a product to do, but talk through, what the prospects is, what kind of hires they need, and then talking about our success stories, that kind of thing, and then running negotiations and that kind of stuff.
What was the difference? Because I want to go closer.
Hmm.
Um, I'm at a zero trust cybersecurity firm now, and ideally want to go closer from there. But like I've been pretty successful as an SDR. What's the transition like? Like when you first start going full cycle, and any advice?
I think, well, I'll put it this way. I think it totally depends on what you're selling and what you already know how to do in it. Like, there were, for the first client I ever worked at Memory Blue, I felt like I could have been an AE for them just a couple of months and to be an SDR over there. But I'd also seen another just really garbage AE drop the ball on a whole bunch of stuff. Never followed up with prospects. Couldn't even book a meeting himself. Um, for like recruiting and whatnot, it's, it's like doing from what I was doing because it's a slightly different ball game. Like if you start out just recruiting, because recruiting is a lot like sales, but the ways that it's different is that people are more receptive on initial outreach, but they'll waste your time a lot. And so you got to be really sensitive with your time. It's the same way in sales too. You talk more as a recruiter. I think the hardest part for me, and this is still a challenge, like none of this has ever really stopped, is getting the right people at the right time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you unturn the right rock, there could be a lobster under that rock that might not take all that much work to massage. You know what I'm saying? And like in recruiting, it's sort of like you can make a lot of money off one deal. You know what I mean? If you get one agreement signed, like you can make a lot of money off of that. I think a lot of it just comes down to how good, because like the main thing is once you have a revenue quota, it doesn't matter how many meetings you book. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how many meetings go down. It matters how many like good first meetings you get, and then what you do with it after that.
Yeah, it has to close or it doesn't matter.
Right. And so, yeah, the hardest part, and I think there's probably a handful of SDR. I mean, I've talked to lots of SDRs who've been doing it for like 3 months or something and think that they're ready to be an AE, even if they're coming from like an enterprise segment or something like that. And that might be the case for some of them, but like if I were to just have gone from like a pure SDR role straight into like most AE roles out there, I feel like I would have eaten my balls.
Why?
But just because, and you know, well, I'll put it this way: like if you don't know your product and you haven't already been a closer for some time, it's going to be super hard. That's why I think unless you have a real simple product, because I've seen SDRs go and be like an SMB AE, like if somebody's been like, we'll just call it like a mid-market enterprise SDR, and then they go work at Yelp or something as an AE, or they go work for somewhere where it's just ultra transactional, super small deal sizes and whatnot, that'd probably be fine. Like you probably crush that. And they do a lot of times. But like moving straight up to like mega complex deals, unless you've already been, and this might be the case for you. I don't know what your situation is. You maybe tell me, but
No.
I think it's like for somebody moving from an SDR to an AE role, it's going to help if you get to basically watch along and just see how the process goes for a while. Just to know what it's like to actually sell that thing, because I've seen a bazillion different sales processes, especially being a recruiter, learning about lots of other people's sales processes. Most of them are different. You know, like some people have a usage-based sell, some people have upfront pricing, some people have, you got to do a proof of concept. Some it's like a month-to-month subscription, sometimes it's a year, sometimes multi-year contracts. So
it's really about understanding sales cycle and product.
sales cycle, product, and process
Process.
is the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ready yet. I think I haven't seen a lot of stuff go all the way through. Like, I've seen a lot of first meetings, and I've been SDR for a couple different campaigns, but I like the technology, but sales process, I'm still trying to figure that out. Like I literally like haven't seen like all the meetings up to a close. I only see discovery.
Yeah. How I don't know if it's confidential, but like what type of deal sizes you're normally seeing?
Shoot, I don't know if it's confidential either.
If you don't gotta say, you don't gotta say, but like how many how many meetings does it normally take to close the deal, do you think?
A lot. I think it's a complex sales cycle. Like the technology, it's a in its simplest form. Like talk about simple. It's an ID portal for work environments for all your work applications. It's an ID portal, but it has all these security features. It makes it a lot simpler, and it connects to like manufacturing equipment and stuff like that. So it's pretty useful for like oil and gas companies, manufacturers, all the ones with a lot of technology. But like, I forgot why I brought it up. I think I was just saying it's like it's a complex technology. A lot of people have to be involved. There's a lot of meetings beforehand. They usually do POCs. Actually, the business is moving away. We're moving away from POCs because we're doing a just like guaranteed success model where it's like we install it for 2 months, and if you don't like it, you get your money back. If not, if you do like it, then we just keep the contract rolling. Um,
Right. Okay, I got you. So it's almost like I want to say like an Okta for your OT.
yeah, yeah, exactly that. It literally is. We connect OT to Octa. So
Right. Neat. Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, that sounds pretty cool, and I could see, especially when you're talking oil and gas, and just like anywhere with a lot of physical infrastructure, you got to get facilities involved. You know, you got to get the people who aren't necessarily security aware involved, and then you got to like have something to say about it, how this isn't going to affect the process that much, or if
yeah,
it'll help them out. You know. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, the I think for any SDR moving up to an AE, like the best thing you can do is just to like get your eyeballs on as much of the process as you can, um, and start to like helping try moving things along when you can.
yeah. I have to sit in some. It seems kind of like a random question, but do you think everyone, like anyone, not everyone, do you think anyone can be good at sales?
No, not anyone. Um, I think I think most people can be good at selling something. I don't think everybody can be good at selling. Uh, Definitely not everybody can be good at selling anything, but I do think most people could be good at selling something. Um, and I say that because we've all sold something before. Like you've been excited about an event and you wanted your friend to go. They didn't want to go because they had a tummy ache. Well, tough shit. The girl that you like's over there is going to be there. All your friends are going to be there. We're going to, rage it up, and then you're going to get to do that thing that you wanted to do later on. Everybody's done that before. So, like money, any type of sales, like when you're at SDR, you're still selling stuff. You're selling people on, like, hey, trust me, and then take some time with me. You know what I'm saying? Time is more valuable than money, and especially in B2B, it's like a lot of times there's already money for it, or just a lot of times it's like this is going to save you money or what have you. So, it's just about maintaining that trust and that, being able to be aware of how this is going to benefit somebody and explaining that. Um, yeah, to give you some long wind about it.
Yeah, no, that answers it. You've worked at Memory Blue for a while, and Memory Blue, for anyone that's listening that doesn't know, it's an outsourced SDR business for tech companies, but they also work with other clients. Like it's not just tech. I mean, it's predominantly tech clients, but there's some other ones in there that are a little more niche, Silicon Valley Bank and stuff like that. I don't think any stuff like that is confidential that they outsource SDRs, right?
No, no, that's front and center when you go up on the thing. Yeah, they'll say it sometimes. I'll take this one on the chin if this comes back to bite me, but I think the weirdest client that Memory Blue ever took on was a catering company um, called Plum Relish, which is now defunct. But we used to joke about it. It's
Was
like
it
you
the
can
gift
call it,
basket one for
I don't
uh
know.
oh what was this one?
So Plum Relish is literally just a catering company. I'm pretty sure what the SDRs in that campaign were doing was like calling businesses, then being like, "Hey, where y'all getting your next team lunch from?" And then being like, "Check this out. We got apple fritters with
No,
motherfucking, lamb biryani and all this shit. And
I feel like that will keep you fun. So might
I
be
think it would
different.
be fun too. Yeah, dude, and that's the fun thing about memory blues. I feel like you can, like, if you want to, it just be a perpetual SDR, and like you'd be cool with that. You just sell some fun shit from time to time. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you. I think you. My one thing I really like Memory Blue for is like you. Since there are so many clients, you really do. If you take the opportunity, you really do get to learn about a lot. Like I was not techie. You made a joke earlier about like you didn't know about a computer or nothing. Like I'm not techie at all, but like at Memory Blue, I would literally study so much. I'm like, oh, I had to learn about databases and how they work, and I'm learning about cybersecurity, and I had no clue either. And I can have a decent conversation now, just from like cold calling people. So like, but the gift basket one, I heard, I don't know what the client's name is, and I don't think they're still there. I'm not sure, but I just heard from someone in the office they had this. Uh, it was corporate gift baskets. So it's like if you want to send gift baskets to like your C-level employees or your directors or your managers, like from like just to show them appreciation. I think it's for HR, but they'd get gift baskets to those people, and
Hmm.
I think that's what Kyle, the director of the Seattle office, said was the most interesting one he knew about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that was probably a different one from Plum Relish, but
Yeah.
there was another one too. My coworker, she was doing so Challenger. If you ever heard of this Challenger sales,
No.
there was a campaign. It's pretty big sales methodology out there, but she was just selling the books. Like she'd
At
be
Memory
call,
Blue.
yeah, like she'd be calling up, sales leaders and be like, "Hey, this is gonna be a great gift for your team. Give them a book report to do on this book. Gonna make them better sellers, relatively inexpensive. You know what I mean?"
Yeah. It's so crazy. You could be like literally sitting in a queue, like literally selling cybersecurity to sitting next to someone selling books, sitting
Yeah.
someone selling a catering service.
And at the end of the day, you never know because like sometimes selling the books might be harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you would think. I mean, there's been some things that I've seen people sell, or just something that I've sold before. I'm like, this is significantly harder, and I could think the product is way cooler. I could be like, this product is way dope. I think this is awesome, but yet it's just that much harder to get a meeting.
Yeah.
Versus sometimes you're like, hey, you got budget for this? Yeah, you know my company name. Go, let's fucking have a meeting. You know?
There's one that makes me think of in the Seattle office. There's a company that did wireless charging, like Wi-Fi charging. You imagine like
Hmm.
there's a Bluetooth, like it just charges everything in the office, and that's a really cool one because the technology is crazy. But the only
That's
people,
sick.
yeah, right, like, and it's literally like it can be like across the room or something to charge everything on my desk as long as
Give
the
everyone cancer and make your health insurance rates bad, but that's still fucking dope.
oh, they got like FDA approved and all that stuff. I don't know the logistics on it, but they're good people at that company. I like them.
Yeah.
But they um that's a cool one, right? But I'm pretty sure they only call manufacturers of the technology, and it needs to be the innovation people, and they need to be willing to like have that conversation about it. I don't know. I just thought like that's like seems like a cool one. Like everyone would be down to have that conversation, but also only specific people are going to be able to take on something like that to like implement that into all the Apple laptops. Like it's gonna be very hard to find that person that would do something like that. Um,
To sell it, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah, and that's sort of like the Challenger sale book I was talking about earlier. That's the idea of a Challenger salesperson is somebody who can challenge the status quo and challenge you to rethink your business. And that's what the innovation teams at Fortune 500 companies they'll be like. That's their whole goal, is to look at, hey, how can we stay on the cutting edge of technology and invest proactively in stuff that's going to improve our business more so than like the smaller companies will do. There was a time where there was a quantum computing company who had approached us wanting us to find them at Enterprise AE, and they had some real specific fucking requirements for who they were looking for. And the dude who like their CEO or CEO, like whatever the point of contact I was talking to was saying, like, we need somebody from a top 10 school who's either coming from a enterprise sales or like consulting background at a big four, all at the same
80
time,
years of
top of the
experience.
80 years of it. Yeah, basically, and like knows quantum computing and whatnot, or has like a real in-depth understanding of AI and ML and all this shit. And I was like, I could be all of those things and still not want to be a sales rep for a quantum computing company that's pre-product,
Yeah.
meaning what they're selling is, hey, we don't have these computers yet, but if you sign up for this shit, you can like start testing out the algorithms and whatnot that you'll use on, they called it near term hardware, which just means we don't fucking have it yet. That I just thought was goofy, and I was like, dude, I'm not gonna find this person. You're not gonna find this person.
Yeah,
Like, good
dude, the
luck.
salary was. I'm like, you're gonna pay me crazy if those are my qualifications.
Yeah, and they were throwing like decent enterprise AE money, but it still wasn't like, like it's such a dice roll. You know what I'm saying? And they'd be like, you're only gonna be selling to, like Fortune 100 R&D departments and whatnot. We only have a handful of use cases. I was just like, that's not, that juice is not worth the squeeze there, my guy.
From what you've seen, what's good AE money?
Good. Well, let me see. Dude, it just depends, man. Because, like, in my mind, like, if I were to get fired today, um, and like I could be an AE somewhere, I don't care really that much about base pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't make a high base pay right now. I make most of my money in commission. If I felt like I could start doing that and make a high amount of commission for myself, that's what I care about. Because the thing is, too, is like you'll like being in sales, you want to be in there for the commission. I've seen a handful of folks get suckered into like a just ridiculous comp plan. Somebody like being promoted from an SDR, and they're like, all right, we're going to give you 100K base, and we're going to give you 200K on target commission, 300, whatever it is. And in my head, just because I've seen this happen enough times, you should get an idea on whether or not somebody's like is saying too much. The problem that I've seen a lot, especially just being in recruiting, is that the companies, and especially SaaS companies in their growth era, taken way too much funding, have just completely overinvested in the comp plans for people. And those are the folks who are laying folks off in droves. Because, I mean, you could have a top performing SDR or an AE, but if it's not just their commission plan, but their base pay is like overinflated, they're going to get chopped. So I look at it this way. Like your standard AE plan is going to be at a 50-50 split. That's like the most kind of standard one. If you're getting somewhere in between a 4 to a 5 variable as a 20% of your quota, that's a good pay. So like, let's say your quota is $1 million. If your OTE is at least 200, generally that's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Industry average right now, I'll say on the high end, just overall, is like you're going to keep 10% of your ACV, your annual contract value. So like, let's say you're selling, well, that's why I tell people to look into this kind of shit, because like, let's say you are only making 3-4% of your annual contract value, factor your base pay into there. Generally, I would think that tends to be whack, and that might be okay for certain sales programs, because sometimes you'll have like more, like maybe you get to keep a residual. So like some AEs will make money off of like second, third year contracts, or like they'll get additional money if they keep using. So I hope this is helpful. Like
Yeah,
I think,
so like a good, you would say a good, like if someone came to me a contract and said 100 base, 200 OTE, quota of $1 million, you'd say that's good. Obviously, it'll be dependent on Are people hitting quota, stuff like that? Like, what's going on? But like, do those numbers look good?
Yeah, yeah. And I would say, most of the times, like, good pay is going to be different than high pay. I think, like, if I'm trying to put anything out there, and when I say high pay, I mean like an overinflated. Well, I'll put it like that. Like, let's say you get a job offer tomorrow. If you're like, if they offer you, because like I know you're at SDR right now, or what, what have you.
Yeah,
If
I'm
somebody
SDR.
offers you, if somebody offers you 120K base, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Simply because, you know, making that profitable, even being able to like argue, hey, you're still going to be a very profitable based off of what you expect me to do, given what I've done so far, that would be highly overinflated. Now that said, I've seen a handful of SDRs, you know, get like, I think there might be some SDRs out there with like 100K base. Um, you know what I
No
mean? With
shot.
like,
Where? No shot.
fuck
As
yeah.
SDR, are you saying right after when they turn AE?
Well, I think I've talked to an Adobe SDR or something who had like an 80K or something base.
Damn.
And the thing is too though is like there's SDR circles out there where it's legit just a decent job to have long term. Um, like there was, I'll put it this way, it is a very recent thing that I've seen. I've recently seen an SDR from Memory Blue actually, been an SDR for like 14, 15 months, get offered 120K base, 150K OTE, fresh out. Now, granted, this person was the best person at Memory Blue for a very long time, and also was like exactly the same client that this person was, in just a highly, highly niche industry. Even though I think that he or she could probably maybe do well on that, I would be concerned, generally speaking, that like they might just be throwing too much money out. And I'm saying this from the perspective of just I've seen so many companies throw out really high comp packages and then regret it later on and then end up laying the person off.
Gotcha.
Even if they're doing okay.
What would you recommend like the conversation to be like? What if that person still wanted to go there, or you didn't have to use that person example, some made up person is like getting offered something crazy like that? Would like, I don't know. For me, I'd be like, if I'm in that position, based on your advice, it's like, do I tell them? Like maybe I'm not worth that much, or like maybe I should do a lower base, higher OTE, or what?
Nah, I mean, if somebody hit me with that shit, I'd probably be like, fuck it, let's just try it. You know what I mean? So I'm not telling anybody who gets them numbers thrown at them not to do it. But if you get some numbers that just feel kind of like, if you get something thrown ridiculously high at you, go ahead and take it. Because even for an SDR, like moving into a junior AE role, like 120K OTE is still pretty good. So like if you can get that in base and like maybe make some commission on that, then awesome, good on you. You'll probably find another job if that one doesn't work out. But like, let's say, I'll put it this way: if you're like an SDR looking for your first AE job, and you get one offer that's like 70-70 versus 85-85, or like even 60-60 versus 75-75, I wouldn't just pick one or the other just based off of those numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like there's a lot more that goes into it than just like a base and an OTE number.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? Like, what are your goals?
Right now, dude. Right now, I just want to build this business arm a lot and get better at it. Just get better at finding more clients and putting more recruiting work out there. That's really where my focus is right now. I want to build that muscle better and just get really good at that. Um, might have a deal or two closed this month that I'll
Let's
be
go.
excited about. Yeah.
This month,
It's just like,
October. This month.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Good luck. Crunch time
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. That's like the number one thing. And then on top of that, I mean, like my online stuff, the brand and the content and what that, I feel like every time I put something else out, it's getting more views, it's getting more attention. Um, I don't even have an end goal for that, but I don't really have an end goal, but like, for you, an example, when you had hit me up, I was just like, I was already in my head, like, I hope that somebody hits me up to be on a podcast.
Hey, there we
You know what I
go.
mean? Yeah. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep doing that until it yields something because I know it will. I mean, I've already gotten like decent amount of followers and that kind of stuff from it, and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? I like making content. Um, yeah, that's my deal. I mean, I'm trying to build that brand and then seeing what else there is to make out of it because um, it goes for me. I think it's the same with probably a lot of salespeople over there, but you know, the people I look up to are famous online or
Yeah.
like have just have something online, and then it comes a thing where it's like you can make side streams of revenue and different side streams of income in different ways. Um, so for myself, I mean, long term, I think um, I have like an entrepreneurial spirit. Like I want to be in a place where I don't have to pay taxes mostly.
That's dope. That was
Yeah.
actually my next question. That's perfect. The next question was about the content. Uh, I'm the same way. Like a lot of people I look up to are just like famous and stuff like that, and I enjoy the content stuff. Who do you like, content wise?
Yeah. So probably I like people that do funny stuff. Like Troy Barter is probably my favorite sales personality of all time, simply because I think he's the most raw, the most real. He's the funniest. He's got a beard. He used to be a battle rapper, which I was too on a mediocre level.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, yeah. If you haven't watched Troy Barter, or just check this stuff out, he's great.
That's
I
cool
feel
that
like
you were a battle rapper though.
I wasn't a battle rapper. I just battle rapped,
Oh, gotcha.
or battle rap actually. But yeah. So he's dope. Uh, I think besides him, Trent Dressel's really good.
I
Are you
started following
familiar?
Trent Dressel. Yeah, I'm trying to
Trent
get him
Dressel.
on here.
Oh yeah,
So hunting
yeah.
around
No,
right now.
yeah, no, he's really great. I I like his outlook on stuff a whole lot. He puts out a lot of content, and he makes me feel bad because I can like it takes me so long to put out a piece of content, and also like his style is different than mine. Um, but I respect like I could just tell that he works a shitload. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I respect that. Patrick Dang's good. I think Patrick Dang's good for like a younger audience, somebody who's just getting into tech sales or want like that ongoing early stage support. Um, that's the gist. I'd say that's probably my top three,
I like it.
and probably the top three that sort of motivated me to start putting stuff out there in the first place.
What are you posting on right now?
LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. I think I'm getting most of my what I would identify as useful stuff from LinkedIn off the jump, but I do have a video on YouTube that's gotten a lot of views comparatively to the other stuff that I've done. A one about tech sales boot camps. Um, it's gotten a lot of response. TikTok, I think, is good as well. And actually, if we're talking about views, I think I have like 6,000 something views on like a if the whole the whole joke is like, what if Salesforce was fried chicken? Like, what if CRM was a fried chicken and it's like Salesforce versus HubSpot? Uh, and then it's this thing where it's like Salesforce is Popeyes and HubSpot's KFC, and then you know it's a whole thing. But yeah,
I don't have that much fried chicken. I don't understand like the comparison, but
Have you ever eaten at KFC before?
Yes.
What about Popeyes?
Yeah. They're both at a different kind of like a rural, like suburban area. I had both. They're good.
All right, you have a favorite one?
Yeah. I'll go Popeyes.
Yeah. So most people would nowadays. If you ask everybody way back when, if you had to pick a CRM off the jump, it's probably going to be Salesforce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That make
So
okay. I get it now. Yeah, yeah.
right. So it's yeah.
That's
Like
funny,
I
bro. That's
the thing is too. Like I've been cold called by a Salesforce rep before when I was like half-ass starting a business with a partner. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, I ain't even got $5 I'm trying to spend on this right now. And he basically like laughed at me. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna use HubSpot." So I used that in like what I know about both of them and made a goofy video about it. But it's been like on all channels what's done really well.
That's dope. We'll throw them in the bio of this, where it's everywhere. All your socials and stuff. Make sure to check them out.
Yeah.
I know you brought up something at the beginning. Oh, are you gonna say something?
No, I was just saying thanks for the plugs.
Yeah, of
What
course.
have
I don't know if you want to do on or off air, but a question about like after Memory Blue stuff for me.
you? Sure. Yeah, no, I'm free to talk about it on here.
Yeah. I mean, what's a question? It's like
I
life
mean,
after.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, for you, I mean, yeah, like how was it right when I mean, cause you were at Memory Blue for how long?
Not long. I was an intern at Memory Blue for 3 months. Summer of 2021. I came back April of 2022. Was an SDR until late July, and then was a DM July, August, September, and then I switched over. Sorry, 1 second. I gotta plug my laptop in. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do some editing right there. Laptop is about to die on me.
Yeah, no sweat. But yeah, so you pieced out. I take it. Did you get hit up from a recruiter, or were you looking already yourself?
No, it was actually one of the clients I worked for when I was at Memory Blue. So
Oh, okay, nice.
yeah, we had a good connection there, and just thought it'd be best. I mean, I like the DM role. I like the people at Memory Blue. I think there's so many learning opportunities, but after I became a manager, and I don't think I did too poorly. Well, I felt like I was doing poorly, I think, because there's certain like standards, but it was like, oh, this is what usually happens, it's like a new DM and stuff like that. And I was like, I feel like I'm doing shit, So
Yeah.
I also just rethought about where I wanted to go. I took the DM role kind of like I never thought about being a DM. I was an intern. I planned to come back to be an SDR, and I planned to become an AE after an SDR. But then I was an SDR for a little bit. I got an offer from my client. I was like, hey, thinking about my client, but I don't want to talk about other offers. The management in Seattle office was like, you should think about DM. We think you'd be a good DM. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, I think it'd be fun. I'd like manage people. I want to own my own company one day. So I thought the experience would be good. And I think the experience was good.
Yeah.
But once I started doing it, I was like, yeah, I forgot I need to go full sales cycle. I need to learn how to sell. I need to work my way up, and I need to learn a lot more before I start teaching people. Not because I don't think I have things I can teach, but I like to learn, and right now I like to sell. So I don't want to manage a team and manage clients right now. I want to throw something off the shelves,
Exactly. Yeah. You have like there's a muscle that you want to get to a certain size before you start working on another one.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you, and you're not going to catch me managing anybody for a long time. I tell you what, it sounds so shitty.
Dude, it's tough, man. And I think my girlfriend manages people now, and I stint managing. I thought, and I think probably a lot of people have this misconception when they go into management. It's like, oh, if I'm good at something, I'll be good at managing people that do that. But no, dude, it's like management is a whole skill in itself that you really have to develop. I was like, I'm a good SDR. My SDRs make them all good. And my SDRs weren't bad. Shout out to Team Olad, man. Love those guys. But like it's a different skill to teach than to just sell.
Yeah, yeah, I see that 100%. I've seen people do manager for a little bit and then just go back to being an individual contributor. And yeah, I'm I'm just one of those folks that's going to take a real hard sell to get me to manage somebody, just because I don't think I want to know how shitty I can be at it. You know, it's like
You
I
might,
already know it's like I already know I'm pretty good at doing this. I don't want to be shitty at something.
yeah, like why do I gotta restart? You know, like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
no.
But yeah, no, that's nice, man. And then so like coming into the new jaunt, I mean, yeah, is it just better? How's life post? And I'm asking this from a perspective of like memory blues, almost like I almost feel like it's part of my formative years, just having like a real job. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I feel like very personally attached. Um, but I could see that not being the case with everybody. But I'm just curious, like what that was like, just leaving it, because I feel like it's almost like drinking from the breast of a corporate mother or
Yeah.
something in a way.
No, I'll say it was hard, um, because it was my first job post college and it was like my only internship, and it was like, what if I'm making the wrong decision? Especially because I have like Memory Blue gave me so much opportunity I didn't know I would have. And like as an SDR, I didn't know what tech sales was before Memory Blue. They reached out to me on LinkedIn. I wanted what tech sales was and started my internship. And then
Same,
like
yeah.
management opportunity so young. So I'm like, am I gonna mess this up if I make a jump? Um, so it was hard. Like I thought about it, but personally, I don't stay in the same place for a very long time, like anywhere. So I think that gave me a little bit of a boost. But it was hard leaving at first, and the people, I probably even more so for you. You know, you're probably so connected with the people, you're some best friends, family. Like you're around them so much. It was a hard jump, but I thought like long term, I think this will be better. And also like my perspective was, if I think I'm gonna jump at some point my thought was this: I thought I was gonna jump to an SDR role at some point, because I realized I didn't want to be a director, because I think the only way that I would see like upward mobility was from a manager at Memory Blue to director, and I realized I didn't want to do that after working as a manager there, just because I want to see how other businesses act, and I didn't want to be a manager for a few years, be a director for a few years. I wanted to see something new, just to see something new.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, if I'm not going to be a director, then where do I go for manager? And I'm like, oh, well, then I'll probably be a manager somewhere else of SDRs. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So if I leave here, I think I'm going to leave to be an SDR. And there's actually someone that was a really good manager at Memory Blue, who left for like an accelerated SDR role. And I asked him, I was like, why didn't you go? You're a really good manager. You had all these clients. You're obviously very skilled. Why'd you go SDR role? And he's like, well, it's hard to go from like a manager to like a full closer role without being like an SDR somewhere. So I took the step, like I guess what some would say like a title down, and maybe he took a pay cut too, but he said he had to make the sacrifice because he's trying to go AE role and go like high level management and sales. And when I heard that, I was like, well, I'm probably gonna jump to an SDR role at some point, and I could stay here for a year and learn a lot as a manager, or I can jump to an SDR role now and be an AE in a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I have to rip off the Band-Aid and make that jump. So it was hard. I really appreciated my time with everybody, and they really gave me an opportunity. And I was sad to leave it early. I know no one likes that. I know, shout out like my manager, my director. I know, they gave me opportunity, and they were all very nice to me the whole time, and even departure. But I know that's very inconvenient for them. So there's part of me felt really bad. But I was like, I gotta rip the Band-Aid off and go for what I think is going to be the right decision, and just, leap of faith type beat. So
Yeah. I feel like I probably would have done the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Because it's just like if you know that you're gonna have pizza at some point in the day, Like somebody set that up right there. Like, hey, there's pizza in the oven. You can have it whenever you want. Um, but you got to, you know, I'm not gonna wait around for it,
Yeah,
more or
exactly.
less. I'm gonna go get some as soon as I'm hungry. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, so it's been good so far. I had 4 books today. It was a good
fuck
day.
yeah,
It's a good day.
nice.
uh, but
Yeah.
I want to ask you two, and we can go off anything, but I want to ask you two last questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
First one is for people listening. I have a lot of friends in college, and I think, like myself, we're still figuring out what we want to do with our career. But there's a lot of people that are just figuring out like what to do with their career in life. And tech sales was not known to us until someone reached out. So, what would be your advice to someone that's heard about tech sales and what wants to get into it?
If you've heard about tech sales and it's time to get into it, um, fucking do it. Figure out a way to make it happen. From a recruiter perspective, probably going to be one of the hardest times to actually get into it, but it's also the best time to get into it. And I'm speaking about this from a macroeconomic standpoint. There's now plenty of jobs, but there's also now plenty of talent that'll outcompete you simply because, you might have a somewhat experienced SDR who just got laid off from Oracle or what have you earlier today, who's now in the zone. But that said, there's no reason to not do it. I mean, even the base pay that you can get as an SDR is better than like the median household income in most cities. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
it's actually
saying?
crazy. It is actually
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's like you get to make some commission on top of that. It's low risk. All you have to do is get, just, if you just figure out a way to not care about rejection or to like turn it into something funny and, bounce that humor off of the people around you, it's not that fucking bad. Um, it's actually fun. Like I get a rush off of it. Like when a prospect is a dick to me, I fucking laugh about it.
Yeah, same.
I think it's funny. You
I,
know what I
I
mean?
love it. Like literally, someone today was like, I was like, oh, should I call you back then? He's mad. I was calling his mobile. He said, gosh dang it. He said you figure that one out, and hung up. I was like, you're hilarious, man. But sorry for interrupting, man. Go.
Yeah. No, it's that like that shit is funny, and it's like, even being in the military, it's like the one thing that we learn to laugh about, and the thing that bonds you the most is the pain, like the struggle and whatnot. So I just look at it like, yeah, there's a little bit of like scratches that you get in the job, but it's fun scratches, and you just make way more money than everybody else. So, like, if you get decent at it, there's plenty of money in it. And you ain't got to go to college, you ain't got to take out all this debt. It's not that complicated either. I mean, yeah, you don't have to be a computer wizard, but if you can sit in a class for, like if you can pass community college, you can generally figure this shit out. Um, won't say that about every type of technology out there, but I would just say, like, the advice I give to people who are young and looking at getting into it, or even people who are old and getting into it, is, if you want to find the job, if it's getting the job that's a hard part for you, um, cold call the managers, the sales managers, the HR people. They'll respect that. I had a dude offer me a job today because I cold called him. Like, offer me, you know what I mean? But do that type of shit. And then, yeah, I'd say doing it's like the main thing. Project into the universe that you want to do it. Like I tell people all the time, put on your LinkedIn that you're seeking an SDR role. You'll get gobbled up by recruiters. It's the people who like put in their open to work thing, like, oh, I want to thinking about marketing, thinking about project management. I would always skip over those people in recruiter searches. I'd be like, I'm not fucking talking to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you want to get into tech sales, just try really hard to just get into tech sales. It'll happen instantly. Because I was literally just like sitting in a gym at work with a sweaty shirt on, and somebody told me about it. And I got a job and made a bunch of money that way. So if you want to do it, you shouldn't have an excuse to not do it. That's what I'm getting at.
That's dope. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the last question. It's a simple one, but some people could say it's kind of hard because you're limited. And in one word, and it doesn't have to be all encompassing, but it just has to be one of the many things. In one word, what is something that makes you appreciate being alive?
Lasagna.
Love it. Cool.
I think I went through about like 3 or 4 different, just like goofy ideas for that. But yeah, that's my story.
I like it. Aaron, Big Country, thanks for being on. All your TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn will be in the bio.